Morning, doing all right.
Who are you? Who are you? Who are you sitting up in this chair with this
It's,
voice?
it's, it's Chaz Glover again. Glad to be here.
Glad to be here. Glad to have you here. And of course, I am here with one of the originals, Mr. GB
What's happening?
himself. Good morning.
What's happening? What's happening?
We are going to have some local stories. Of course, we're going to have our motivational moment with Mr. Chaz. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Derek Chauvin trial and how many years he got as opposed to how many years other people have got for lesser crimes. But in the meantime, in between time, welcome to KBOB 89.9 FM radios, KBOB899.com, Facebook Live, iHeartRadio, iTunes Radio. You can catch us on our Facebook Lives or any one of us on our Instagram Lives. And of course, my Instagram name is all about Mika because I be all about me most of the time. Mr. Chaz, Mr. Chaz, you are here for the motivational moment to help us get through this week, which is exactly what we need every week. We need to know that there is some positivity jumping off. And what better way to get your week started than to have a motivational word? So, in your own words, what do you have for me today?
Motivational Monday is about family, the importance of family, what family means to you. This weekend, we celebrated our family reunion on the lad side, and it was just good to see a lot of people that I hadn't seen since one of my cousin's funeral a year ago, or maybe 2 years ago, maybe. And so it was good. It was just good to be around good people and your people. So you never know when the last time you're gonna see your family. You never know when the last time your day may be. So it's just good to be around people. It's good to be around family. So this weekend, our motivational Monday is just about and loving your family. You know what I mean? Being grateful for your family.
Are you grateful for your family?
I'm grateful for my family. Yes, I am.
Are you?
Yes, I am.
GB, what about you?
Well, yeah, I gotta agree with Chance saying because you never know when your car may be pulled. So you just wanna show love to everybody you possibly can in the moment. You know, live in the moment
And
because we know preacher over there. If God's will, we may not we may not see tomorrow.
Right.
We gotta look at it like for what it really is.
also, we did have this family reunion this weekend, and I really had not seen people that I hadn't seen in over a year. And the whole thing, and the whole theory, and the whole purpose was, why are we only getting together at funerals? Why can't we come together, have a good time, celebrate, eat, have fun, take pictures, dance while we are alive and celebrating? Because this reunion, there were three people that was here last year that they didn't make it. Our Aunt Georgia May, our cousin Tammy, Uncle Steve, unfortunately, and Dorothy. She's still alive, but she wasn't able to make it, but she would have absolutely loved it. So the importance of family, it seems like the older I get, the more I understand. And I want to instill those things in my kids and grandkids before they get to my age to have to understand what that means. So I am very thankful and very happy for Katana. Katana Cujo threw a great family reunion. And when I say our family came from all over, they came from all out of state. Everybody was staying with people. Everybody bought all this food. It was just actually a really, really, really good time. Real quick, what was the best thing about the reunion to you?
Getting to see people that I haven't seen in a while. I know my last side of the family, but I really don't know them. I know the close proximity of them. So just to see people that I know, like for instance, I have a cousin. I see her on Facebook all the time. The whole time, I didn't know she was my cousin. She was coming to my church and everything until the family reunion this weekend. That's how I found out she was a masker. So that was probably my favorite part of it. You never know who your kin is. I've been seeing this girl for years on Facebook,
What?
but not knowing she was my own people. So I think that was the
Right.
highlight of my weekend.
And I can agree to that because pulling up, Clarence was like, "Oh, I didn't know such and such or such and such was from Kenya," and I'm like, "Who are you talking about?" Because I didn't know either.
Yeah.
I didn't know either. So it was just good to be able to fellowship. So the motivational moment, family, what it means to you, embrace it. You never know when that last moment will be. So please take the time to smile. Please take the time to care about somebody. Please take the time to get to know your loved ones. That's really, really, really important. We'll be right back. KBOB 89.9 FM radio. And when we do, I'm going to come back with some local stories. And then we're going to talk about this Derek Chauvin trial because a lot of people are not okay with how this trial came out. Now, it came out better than some of the others, but really, let's just keep it real. Is that really saying a lot? KBOB 89.9
Yeah, he
FM
can get
radio.
what he deserved for murdering someone.
Let me look at the cream. I got the cake. I need a little bit. You know what I mean. Got the cake. Give me a little piece.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is the Meek in the Morning Show, and we are back. First off, the weather. The current temperature is 73. The high will reach 82 with the low falling back to 70. And of course, we already know it is a 0% chance of rain because this weather has been acting real bipolar. So if you're going to get out, drive to arrive safely because just like today, we need you right back here every day listening to the Meek in the Morning Show and crew, plus all of the other wonderful, 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 wonderful shows that are on the Bobby Eaton Show where we tell our stories our way and we make no apologies for it. Sorry, not sorry. First of all, the event list. 4th of July celebration happening in Oklahoma. Tulsa, Oklahomans will have plenty of fireworks shows to choose from this 4th of July. Broken Arrow is having a black party at New Orleans Square on Thursday night. New Orleans Square just sounds like that's a good time and a good place. Bixby is hosting their Freedom celebration on Friday night at Bentley Sports Complex. Tulsa is having the Foes of Honor Freedom Fest next Sunday night at the 4th River West Festival Park. Jinx is also hosting Boom Fest on 4th of July at the Aquarium. Muskogee First Assembly will be hosting our 19th annual Freedom Celebration on July 4th. Sand Springs will be hosting its fireworks in the park event July beginning just a little bit after 9 p.m. So there are plenty of things to do. So if you're not getting fireworks, you want to be safe, want to mingle, want to have a good time, go ahead and come out to some of these places. And I will also post them in the Meek in the Morning Show, and I will be announcing them throughout the rest of the week. Brookside owner shoots alleged armed robbery suspect. Now, he know better than to be over there at Brookside messing with them folks. He know better than to be over there at Brookside. Tulsa police say an armed robbery suspect is in the hospital after he was shot near 41st and Peoria overnight. Officers were called to the scene just after 2 a.m. Someone told police that a man showed up on their porch with a gunshot wound. Investigators say a gunshot wound. They was not playing with him. Get off my porch, get off my yard, and then get off my street and take this bullet with you. Investigators say a separate homeowner appeared saying he shot the man after he pulled a gun on him. So he did take responsibility. He did want to let the police know what happened and that this was not something random so they would know exactly who and what they were dealing with. The neighbor said the man tried to rob him at gunpoint. So he returned the favor and shot him. The alleged robber was shot in the arm and possibly the torso. According to police, he was taken to a nearby hospital. His condition is unknown at this time. The homeowner who shot the suspect was taken into custody for questioning, but was later cleared. Here's the deal, real quick with that. I don't have a problem with them taking and questioning him, but don't the fact that they said they took him into custody. The guy that was doing the robbing most likely was not going to come up with this story. He was not going to really tell what would happen because he was in the commission of a crime. If you want people to be honest with the police, if you want people to open up about what's going on and what has happened, you have to quit making them not the victim, but the perpetrator. He was the victim, and you took him into custody for question. And I get it, but just the fact that they said, "Well, we took him into custody." When you take somebody into custody, 9 times out of 10, you handcuff them. 9 times out of 10, you may put them in the back of a squad car. But if I'm the one that was being robbed at gunpoint, and I pulled out my gun to defend myself, and then you put me in the back of a squad car, that says
It's
a
just
lot. That says a
it's just a
lot.
little preliminary. It's just a little investigation that they do.
It is,
But
but you
in
know, you
the
take
end,
that
they
kind of
probably didn't put him
personal.
in handcuffs.
I
They
hope they
just wanted
didn't.
the whole detail of the story,
Yeah.
and in order for them to get that, they had to, you know, bring him down so they wouldn't have to sit on the scene and take reports for 4 or 5 hours. They'd be on the scene investigating for hours.
Was that big of
After,
him? Was that big of him to even go to the police and say, "I'm the one who did this"?
well, it was bigger. It
Because
was
would you have
bigger than
done
him to
that?
come forward. Yeah, but if someone is intruding or pulling a weapon on me and trying to rob me, yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah, he was within his rights.
He was
Right.
within his rights. What do you think about that?
Yeah, he was most definitely in this right. And the words of some people, he got dealt with.
Got handled.
That's what happens when you try to bully
You,
people
you
He
put
in a
yourself in a
sense.
situation.
he matched his energy.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
He
Yeah.
matched his energy. Also, man shot in the chest outside North Tulsa home. Tulsa police say a man is in the hospital after he was shot near 56th Street North and Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard late last night. Officers found the victim outside a home. Witnesses gave a description of the suspect's vehicle, helping officers track down the car, but no one was in the vehicle. The victim was shot in the chest. His condition is unknown at this point, but officers say he is expected to be okay. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the story where the man was riding his motorcycle and was behind another car, stopped at a stoplight. Someone came up at the stoplight as well and opened fire. But there has been a rash of shootings at stoplights within the last couple of days. I don't know if this is some kind of gang initiation. I don't know if this is personal. I don't know. But I do know that this is the third incident at a stoplight where gunplay has come into play. And real quick, researchers find skeletal remains of children and men with gunshot wounds at unmarked graves near the Tulsa Race Massacre. And I know that we have been talking about it. We know that they have been finding graves. I don't really remember if anyone has reported if the children had been found. But does this just not further let you know how crazy
The
those
cover up
24
was
or those 48 and the cover
the
up
cover up.
really was? So basically, when they went and started shooting, nobody was safe, not even children. Because what did the children have to do with any of this? Gunshot wounds
Nothing.
to the babies. Then to throw them in a mass grave as if mass grave as if they were trash. Children. Children. I think that puts a whole nother damper on what we've been actually really dealing with. What do you think about that, GB?
I just think it's ridiculous. Right here, I'm looking at it right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they covered it up, and the people that was born here and no one knew about it. I mean, you know, people that's been here all this time, they didn't even know about this until 1990s to the 1990s.
I thought you were
That's
going to say
that's that's
2000.
that's crazy. Well, hey,
Yeah.
that's just 10 years before,
Right.
and it happened what in 1921. Man, that's ridiculous for people not to be talking about that in the history books.
That was
I
basically,
mean,
90 years
you
later?
mean to tell me, like I said before on this show, you could put a dishonorable person like Robert E. Lee in a Robert Lee in a book, and you can't speak on this.
Or
This
a
this is a
whole
part of
neighborhood. Brady
yeah
Heights, Brady District.
yeah
A whole neighborhood.
35 to 40 blocks.
Exactly.
35 to 40 blocks of this. And you mean to tell me this is not important enough for you to take notice and try to put it out there so we can know what went on in our history? The same with Elaine, Arkansas.
Yeah.
And it, you know, the list goes on. Rosewood. I mean, and then it the reparations just shouldn't be done for just for one area of people. I mean, I mean, this whole country was built on slave labor.
That's right.
The whole country is, you know, you don't, I mean, I mean, that was a very gruesome act that happened in 1921. But we can't excuse what's been going on, and still to this day, it's just they just delivering the racism in a different way. There's a lot of hidden racism that goes on a daily
A
basis,
lot, a
and
lot.
it's a
You're right.
whole lot of disrespect. And every single day, I see I see white people trying to uh reduce black men, trying to reduce black men in every possible way they can.
Yeah. So it also makes you think. So we were talking about the importance of family. Does it also make you think? Does it also make you feel that there wasn't a lot of backlash from too many people? Because what if there were whole families that were wiped out? What if there was no one to stand up for those people? You know, like if they came to your house and just took out your whole family, who's standing up for you? Who's acknowledging you? And who knows how many families actually may have really been destroyed in that manner if they were killing kids. And I also heard that they found a baby
Well,
as well, a baby.
first and foremost, the judicial system should protect every single person out here,
But
not
we know
just
they
one,
didn't.
well, not just one particular race. See, that's the whole thing that
Yeah.
goes on. Now, you can be walking down the street, and you're not driving down the street being black, you're walking down the street and get called out for your ID. You know, and I think you got to have probable cause even to approach a person. You can't, you know, you making up stuff just to walk up and harass a person.
I would like to say this. Can we please quit making resisting arrest a crime when you haven't been arrested in the first place?
Right.
Can we please
You
stop
know,
making, oh, he was a resisting arrest, but what am I under arrest for? For resisting arrest. To me, that doesn't make any sense at all.
and everybody that speaks up for black men, they try to ostracize, like uh Reverend Jesse Jackson. You go out and try to pull him into a scandal with a woman, but guess what? He's human. He's human. Uh, uh, everybody from Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, the uh, everybody they try to put in a position and they put him out there bad because they protecting their people. But when you're a human, you're gonna make mistakes in life.
Right.
Don't and then you even got some of these bandwagon black people out here that'll jump right in with them
Yeah.
and criticize and try to critique them down to the ground.
Absolutely. So, Chaz, what do you think about? I mean, we've all heard about the massacre, but does it put a damper or does it make it worse when you now hear that there were children and babies that were found
Of course. Of
with
course.
with gunshot wounds, not even died of natural cause, of gunshot wounds? You know how heinous you have to be to put a gun to a child's head or body just
For no reason.
for no reason.
A baby over a lot. Well, what we don't really know, but we personally believe what could have been a lie.
Or a misunderstanding,
or a
at the
misunderstanding.
most, at the least, a
And
misunderstanding.
children were killed. And so it's like GB said, to me, it's more of the cover up.
Come on.
There's no way you should live in Oklahoma 30 years, and this is not in the Oklahoma history book. We talk about all these different things. The history books is filled with Confederate soldiers, but this is not in the history book.
George Washington, how honorable was he to me? He don't mean nothing to me.
Right.
I mean, Thomas Jefferson don't mean nothing to me.
Right.
I call it like it is.
Yeah, no,
I ain't
you're
fronting. I ain't just saying this because I'm on here. I'm telling you like I really feel. As a youngster going to school, I wish I would have paid more attention. Me, because you know, I'm an intellectual type of guy, but still, you know, that type of looking at the history books, that means nothing to me. What is that gonna do for me in my life? What kind of money is that gonna put in my pocket?
Right.
Talking about this man, and he's been gone for 400 years.
And he owned slaves.
Talk about that 400. Yeah, you know, that's the whole point, Jazz. He
And
owned slaves. You know, so no, there's nothing honorable about those guys to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But here it is. You can't talk about. I mean, but you push that over on us. But you can't talk about that slavery. You know, the slavery part of it. Like you didn't beat black women You didn't rape black women. You didn't rape black women with their husbands sitting on the porch and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, that's something real serious to me.
Yeah.
And when I look at you in 2021 and you still acting somewhat the same way towards my people, I have a problem with that.
Right.
And I don't care who don't like it.
Yeah.
we see.
And I really don't care who don't like it.
No,
and then and what really angers me,
Uh-huh.
not just amongst the other people,
Mm-hmm.
you take somebody like Louis Farrakhan.
Uh-huh.
He sits up there and he tells the truth because he got nuts. He don't mind telling it like it is.
That's right.
You get a Baptist preacher, you get one of these other preachers from these other denominations.
They sugarcoat
stuff and they scared to speak up. I mean, gain some gall. You know what I'm saying? If you see things happening and you see things wrong and you're in a position to do something about it, say something.
Have some integrity. Have some pride. There was something you want to say?
Have some testicular fortitude to say what needs to be said. And if you don't have that, get out the way, because you are hindering and hurting your people. Right? We don't need no coward leaders or no scared leaders. Say, if you don't have what needs to be said, sit down and be silent and silence yourself. Like he said, and I agree with everything with him. He said these guys don't mean nothing to him. You know, like one I remember in world history, one of the greatest people they always taught about was Christopher Columbus, right? Christopher Columbus discovered America. Right? How can something already be discovered and people already stay there? But it's not like he was discovering America for a better life for other people. They were discovering America to come take the land, which what they did.
So they were scouting.
They were scouting, which what they did.
Were scouting.
A bunch of false history and covering up what they did. That's all that was.
Abraham Lincoln is a glorified person because he signed the
Emancipation Proclamation.
But he still didn't think Negroes were equal. He still believed that black people was beneath him.
What was it? 3/4 of a human being still going, and it's still going on. You know, I mean, as brilliant as black men are, and we spoke about it on this show. Mm-hmm. All those guys that had them patents, we could just name one person, George Washington Carver. I mean, all the great things that he did and all the things that he discovered, like the peanut butter. Okay. And we don't get nothing for peanut butter. And you got to think about all these
allergies.
You got to think about you got to think about all these recipes that these older black women put together in these kitchens that they getting paid hella money off today to this day.
Yeah.
So you know.
Well, we all know.
And you know they didn't create no cotton gin. We created cotton gin because we trying to get out them cotton fields. Come on, man. I'm just calling it like
irons,
come on with that.
Right. So we all know that black people have created a magnitude of wonderful things that have helped us in our community. We all know that we are exceptional people. I think all people are exceptional, but we stand out a little. And
brilliant people.
I just think that we need to, if nobody else is going to honor us and the things that we've done, then let's take it upon ourselves to do that. As again, I'm going to say it real quick because we talked about it last week, and then we're going to take a quick break. That is the reason that I was thoroughly disturbed about what happened at Juneteenth. That is one of the biggest reasons that I was thoroughly disturbed, because let me recap this real quick. Last year, when Trump was here, we all band together because we had a greater enemy that was coming. We had something that was more fearful than us. We were too busy fighting for each other to fight against each other, as we should have. So you mean to tell me that we couldn't take that same energy that we had last year and bring it together? There has to be an enemy amongst us for us to get along with our own people, because that's what it seemed like to me. There was not one incident last year at the Juneteenth, not one.
And you know, before we get up, they need to do something. Like I said, they need to put a law in place to protect us. You know, we spoke on this before on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I seen Dr. Umar Johnson. He's going off about it, but we already spoke about this before on this show. About you gonna make we got Biden. He's been in there 6 months now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 2 months after he was in there, 2-3 months after he was in there, he already created a law for them bum rushing some Asians down there in Atlanta. Create a law that's going to protect us. We've been over here getting slaughtered, getting hung, raped, and whatnot, drugged behind trucks. Create a law that's going to protect black people in this country. We have to put you in there. Do now. Demonstrate. It's time to demonstrate.
Absolutely. KBOB 89.9 FM radio, and we will be right back. And when we come back, we are going to talk about the Derek Chauvin sentence or lack of. KBOB 89.9 FM radio.
Just do it, man. Yeah, just do it. Just do it, man. Just do it, man. That's what's up, man. What did they be doing it? Georgia. Mississippi is doing it too. Mississippi. Alabama, they be doing it. Alabama. Arkansas is doing it too. Arkansas. Talking about down in Tennessee. Tennessee. They be doing it, sipping on that Hennessy. All over the South now. Dirty South. Dirty South. Dirty South. There's a dance that's going around, and you know when it hits your town. Put your hands up, kick your legs out. Everybody up and know what I'm talking about. Down south shuffle, down south just do it, man. Down south shuffle, down south just do it, man. Down south shuffle, down south just do it, man. Big Rob, down south just do it, man. Down south shuffle, down south just do it, man. Down south shuffle, down south just do it, man. Down south shuffle, down south just do it, man. Big Rob, down south just do it, man. Ain't out on the West Coast yet. As soon as they learn it, it's gonna make you sweat. Ain't out on the East Coast yet. As soon as they learn it, they'll never forget. Down south shuffle, down south shuffle. It's a down south shuffle, down south shuffle, down south shuffle, down south shuffle. It's the Big Rob, down south shuffle. Just do it, man. Just do it, man. Just do it, man. Do it. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. To the right. To the right. To the left. To the left. Now bring it back. Now two-step and snap. Now two-step and snap. To the right. This is Florida, the 305. To the left. People doing the dance and it's short of getting live. Niggas gonna play it at the hole in the wall. No matter if the crowd is big or small. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Do it. Just do it. Just do it, man. Just do it. Just do it, man. Do it. Just do it. Just do it, man. Down south shuffle, down south. Just do it, man. Down south shuffle, down south. Just do it, man. Down south shuffle, down south. Just do it, man. Big Rob, down south. Just do it, man. Down south shuffle, down south. Just do it, man. Down south shuffle, down south shuffle, down south shuffle, down south shuffle. It's the Big Rob, down south shuffle. Yeah, baby, yeah. This been your boy R3, Big Rob, Onyx Amira. Listen up, all you sexy ladies out there. If you think you sexy, do a couple of things for me. Send me a couple of videos, some pictures, some comments, some love on my page. You can visit me at www.myspace.com/R3snap.
Good morning. It's the Meek in the Morning Show and crew, and we are back, guys. And so now, we all heard this shot around the world Friday. Now, we all know that there have been people of color that have gone to jail for life sentences for way less than what Derek is doing. Derek Chauvin trial and sentencing, what it means, 22.5 years. Was it enough time for the crime committed? Also, there's a lot of criticism going out about the statement that his mother got up and made on his behalf. But let's be honest, that was his mother. It wouldn't have mattered if she saw him kill that man, dig a ditch, and then plant some flowers on top of it. That is his mother. What were people expecting his mother to get up there and say? They kept saying the apple don't fall far from the tree. Oh my gosh, she taught him the racism. She taught him how to be a racist. That's why his wife left him. All that may be true. But as his mother, what did America think she was going to get up there and say? But first, let's start with how you feel about 22.5 years, possibly 15 with good behavior. Plus, he already has so many days already time served for a murder.
199 days
For
time
a
served.
murder. What do you feel about that? About the sentencing? Like, take a deep breath, because I see your
Well,
head.
I mean, really, technically,
Mm-hmm.
for me, it was to be expected. I expected that. I living in the system that we live in. I mean, up under the system we live in, I expected that. I expected them to be lenient towards him.
Did you?
I expected that.
I didn't expect that judge to be only because there were several
But
things that
22.5 years, that's a lot of years considering he's not he hasn't had he hadn't had criminal charges brought against him before, which he probably should have, because they said
no, he has.
he
It
has
just never stuck.
yeah, yeah, he had
He
some other
has.
things that happened in his past, but I was yeah, he deserved a life sentence.
You know, he
But
he did the same.
up under the what, second degree and the third degree,
Manslaughter.
yeah, up under the second degree manslaughter and the third degree manslaughter they charged him with, it just didn't carry that. So that's why I say about the laws that's on the book, they antiquated and outdated. They need to be reformed.
So just because, he wasn't charged with first degree because it wasn't premeditated. But at what point, come on now, at what point in your actions do you know exactly what you're doing and what the result is
I mean,
going to be?
that's the thing right there. How much more deliberate could he have been?
How much?
How much more
just
deliberate?
because
He was deliberate.
just
He
because
was
he didn't get out the car and say, "Oh yeah, he's
yeah,
dying
but he was
today."
just as deliberate.
Just as deliberate.
He was deliberate, and that was all some crazy behavior demonstrated by an officer that's supposed to keep the peace. You understand what I'm saying?
People say he should have been drug tested. He should have been drug tested today because, in my opinion, I'm not going to necessarily say that he looked like he was on drugs, but GB, he really did look like he had a deranged, demonic look on his face. For you to be so callous as to have your knee on somebody's neck who's saying they can't breathe, and everybody around them is saying that he's becoming less and less responsive. For you to have your sunglasses on your head and your hands in your pocket, what more could he been saying except for, and it is what it is. If he die, basically the Rocky movie. If he dies, he dies.
He didn't even look like he had remorse, and
he still hasn't. Not even
he
through the
didn't
whole
even
trial.
do the trial. He didn't even look like he cared. Gave a damn about what he had did from Jump Street. So
and that was the first time he
man,
addressed the family when he got the sentence. What did he say? I give he gave his condolences as if he was apologetic for them losing a loved one, not for him killing their loved one.
right.
He gave his condolences, my condolences to you on your loved one.
And
not the fact that I killed him.
And all he had to do was do his job. Discretion. Use discretion. If once this person stopped moving, then hey, get up off the person or try to revive. He didn't try to revive him or do anything. You didn't even. As a matter of fact, they didn't even want to let the. From what I saw, they didn't even want to let the paramedics.
Well, he didn't
do what they. Yeah.
Because when they did the body cams from the other officers, they were having conversations with Derek. I heard one of them say, "We need to roll him over," and Derek's words
he wouldn't
were,
let him do it.
He's going to stay right here.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
But the other officer, they were trying. They didn't try hard enough. I guess, new on the job. They didn't know. New on the job.
Man, new on the job. They all police officers and they train. And
Right.
if you see this man going unconscious like that, you use your discretion. You push Derek Chauvin off of me because you are accessory.
You on trial now.
Yeah, you finna be on trial.
You're on trial now.
Come on, you push him up off this man.
So does a guilty verdict for Derek Chauvin automatically be a guilty verdict for the other police officers? They
need to be dealt with.
They need to be dealt with. They probably won't get near as much time. But is that what you're saying? I see what you're doing. You're going to get all of us in trouble. So I'm going to take my chances and push you off.
But,
I mean, it's
but
easier
not just
said
to
than
say that,
done.
not just to say that, uh, as officers, you're here to protect and serve
And uphold the law.
and uphold the law, and you
Right.
don't care no more for humanity than that. I mean, you supposed to.
I think they
You supposed.
did.
I can't see it.
I think
I
they
mean, I just can't. I mean, they should have pushed the man up off of
and
him.
I get what you're saying. I honestly, I get what you're saying. And I do think that all I'm saying is that from listening to the body cam, it's like they were trying, it's almost like they were trying to reason with him, like, come on, what are you doing? Like, looking to him for guidance. And because he was the
Because he's a
superior
senior officer.
right. And because he
It don't,
was,
but still.
I mean, I know it's easier said than GB, you know it's easier said than done, but we're looking at this in hindsight. I wish they would have pushed him off too. I promise you I do. But when I heard the conversation, we need to roll him over. No, he's just gonna stay right here. One of them had just been on the job 2 days. The other one had just, that was his third shift. And then you have this officer and Tal, who's been a police officer for 15,
well,
20
if that's
some
what
years.
they want to use as a defense, I'm just thinking in general. I'm thinking in general. If I'm in that situation,
Right.
hey man, let him go.
I'm about to get up. I'm about to get up because I'm not
Yeah,
supposed to be a part of this.
you finna be on your own.
Right. You're gonna take this murder, and if they had said that you're gonna take this murder trial, this murder charge all on your own, would it have made a difference? If they said you're gonna take this murder charge all on your own, because
First of all, I'd
technically,
have just pushed them off of him.
because personally,
and
Tal wasn't
deal
on
with
him.
whatever consequences they're gonna do to me. I'd have pushed them up off of him. Hey man, you killing this man.
Yeah,
You
but
see that?
Tal wasn't on it, right? Remember? So is he guilty for not stopping it? Because he didn't touch him. The Asian officer. He didn't touch it.
He should have took a stance on what Chauvin. He should have took a stance on him. He should say, "Hey man, get up off of him. You're killing this man."
Well, you know, he was guilty of the same thing. He has go back and look at his record. He has an extensive record as well. This wasn't the first time that Chauvin had used that move. That I read that he did on a 17-year-old boy. What saved that 17-year-old boy? That mother went and pushed him off of him and said, "Get off my son."
Yeah.
Get off my son. And as a mother, I can wholeheartedly see that. And I'm
But
surprised
see,
she wasn't arrested.
another thing, it was too many people out there. What you gonna do if they come up there and push you? You gonna shoot somebody when you clearly see that you killing a man down on the ground? You had a lot of people. You had a lot of bystanders around there.
Yeah, some
They
kids.
hollering, "Get up off of him." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Somebody should have just sacrificed a little bit and moved a little close, but not go all the way in, just so you can divert it so they can get up off the man can breathe. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but quite naturally, everybody ain't thinking about that in the moment. They just seeing what's being done. But you know, it's ways that could have been prevented. But the police supposed to took a stand and prevented that from happening.
So, do you think that 22.5 years was enough time when we know? I don't know if you know anybody personally. I really don't know anybody personally, but I've read several stories. Several. I also know that Amber Geiger got 10 years for shooting a black man in his home. There was another young man who was raping a woman behind a dumpster. He did 30 days because the judge said that he didn't want 30 seconds of a good time to ruin this good kid's life who had a definite future of going to an Ivy League school. Raping an unconscious woman. Some men saw him, held him
Why
to
they
the
don't
police
feel
came.
why? I mean, I got 2 daughters.
Mhm.
It's bad all the way across the board for me. But why did that judge feel like that when it's that white kid, but versus it being a black kid, you throw the book at him, you throw the keys away.
So
you get what I'm saying?
I do understand. So with that being said, Amber got the 10 for shooting him in his home. This kid got about 30 days, maybe 60, because the judge didn't want to ruin his life for 30 seconds. And that's basically what he said. I don't want 30 seconds to a minute of a good time to ruin this kid's life.
How awful does that sound? How awful does that sound?
It sounds horrible. So that judge really should have been disbarred. Then you have Derek Chauvin, who gets 22.5 years for the murder of Mr. George Floyd, 15 with good behavior. Then I go on and further read down. A black American vet was hungry. He stole $9 so that he could eat. First of all, a vet should not be hungry. He should automatically have a food allotment card. He should automatically have a place to stay. He should automatically be getting a check for serving. None of that has happened. He stole $9 to feed himself. They gave him 60 years. And keep in mind, this man was over 60 years old.
And another thing America need to hurry up and do is get rid of some of them bigoted senators. I don't understand why they be voting them in.
Because it's bigger than us. Because it's bigger than
bigoted.
us.
And then how you gonna change the Supreme Court? Ain't been changed in years. I mean, Clarence Thomas, he's up there, and I don't like to try to bash a black man, but he ain't one of us.
No.
Clarence Thomas is
Never
not one of
been.
us. So, how he did the woman back in the day when he was sexually harassing her and the whole 9 yards.
And blamed her.
He's not, and blamed her.
Victim blamed her.
Yeah.
He victim
so,
blamed her.
He's not one of us, you know what I'm saying?
But he got dealt with like them. You know what I'm saying? He got dealt with like them. He did not have any really consequences behind it. Actually, she was victim shamed.
Change that Supreme Court so things can be fair across the board. How are you gonna have all these men locked up in the United States? And I'm gonna specifically talk about the black and brown men.
And let's specifically talk about the marijuana laws.
Some of them that ain't even committed the
heinous crimes, murders.
I mean, like
marijuana.
I'm gonna say, I might say 30% of them are in there falsely accused, and in there for things that they haven't even did. And you trying to go back before the Supreme Court, and you can't never get your case
well, let's talk
heard. You don't never get your case heard, and that's crazy to me.
Let's talk about the fact that you have men that have been doing 20, 30, 50 life on a drug charge, and by all means, I'm not saying that drugs are
happened
okay.
to Big Meech. That stuff that happened to Big Meech, because you can't touch him, and you can't catch him in his act. You throw a conspiracy charge on him, and he's a first-time offender, and you give him all this time, and you don't have nothing concrete that he did other than some telephone conversation.
Well, I was going to say the fact that
I mean, what kind of crazy crap is that?
The very reason that those men are locked up, and we're going to say mostly black men, it's not all, but mostly, like you said, black and brown. The fact that they're locked up and doing all that time for a bill that you have passed that has made that very same act that they were doing legal. So basically, what it sounds like to me is that you were kind of ticked off and you were a little pissed off because you couldn't find a way to tax that money.
Right.
You couldn't find a way to control it.
It's still not a federal law yet. It's a state law. It's state-based. But what I'm saying is, why? You can't see no wrong in what you did. You arrest a man. I know federally, what was it, 5.7 grams of crack cocaine. They can, and with guns and stuff like that, they can charge you with trafficking. Man, that's crazy.
So was he? He was
and
not
send a man to the penitentiary.
He was not a felon.
Who that?
Who are you talking about? Yeah.
Big Meech, Big Meech wasn't a felon before that. Not to my knowledge, he wasn't a felon.
Okay.
He had been charged with cases.
So he got charged with attempting to distribute.
He was a first time. Yeah,
first time
abundant on federal laws.
Right.
Abundant on federal laws.
So
you don't throw a man, because you got to give a man a chance to
redeem himself.
To
start over, to fix it.
Yeah,
if you can,
a second chance. Give
right.
A man a second chance.
If he didn't take a life, I mean, I think outside of taking a life and maybe rape, I think anything you could probably try to give a second chance on, in my opinion, and that is definitely just my opinion. If it's not a rape or a very abusive situation or a murder, I don't see why you really can't.
Well, they might try to probe
somebody.
him on that. I think he was found not guilty. Some stuff out there that happened between Puffy and them. Somebody got killed, and they tried to charge him.
Was it a bodyguard?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he was. I think he was acquitted on that. And if you acquitted, give a man a chance to redeem himself.
Absolutely.
Give a man a second chance in life. When you're younger, you think much different.
You do, and I tell people that all the time. Your actions of today will affect your life of tomorrow. And let's go back. That's where family comes in as well. It doesn't have to be a mother or a father that's trying to tell you the right path to go. It just really kind of has to be anyone in your life that loves you. Anybody. Family comes in lots of shapes, forms, and people. So again, that's why I was asking. It didn't matter what Derek Chauvin had done. What did people expect his mother to get up there and say? Now, people are saying 22.5 years, 15 years with good behavior is not enough time. It is actually more time than any cop probably has ever gotten. Amber Geiger got 10 years for shooting this man sitting on his couch. That to me was the most bogus sentencing she could have got. They darn near gave her probation. 10 years for taking a life, and I'm sitting on my couch eating ice cream, and all I'm worth to you is 10 years in jail.
What was it? It's been 200. What? How many? It's been 200 young black men killed this year. Was it by the police? Right? 200
this year,
I think
or
it was 200 black men.
Yeah,
killed?
it was a number that
somewhere
had,
up in there, right?
Yeah, the number hadn't stopped.
And this stuff is still happening. And then you kill a young, like a person that's a non-commissioned police officer kills Trayvon Martin down there in Florida.
Right.
Everybody up in arms. We hate that happening to Trayvon, but this been happening. I mean, do something about this. Our federal government, we need to hold them responsible right now. We don't need to.
So these 22.5 years don't mean nothing to you, do they?
Man, it's it's some BS to me.
I do know. But, it's some BS to me.
That's just the system we live in.
22.
Just like you talked about the massacre, the babies that's in these graves that's been,
right.
Hey, come on.
That's heartbreaking. Because like I said, who knows if there weren't whole families that were wiped out as the reason is why noise hadn't been made.
And then you got a lot of, like I said, you got a lot of brothers out here that won't even bat an eye when something like that happens. Because they just don't feel like it's necessary.
It don't have nothing to do with me.
Yeah, you
that
know what I'm
mentality.
saying? That kind of crazy crap.
Yeah.
Until it hit home.
Till it hit home.
Till it happened to one of yours.
And that's it right there. Until it hits home, you don't realize how devastating these things are. KBOB 89.9 FM radio, we get deep up in here. Like I said, if you're not listening, it's because you do not want to be. If you have a topic and you want us to drop it, do that. We talk about all and just about everything. It's the Meek in the Morning Show, but it's the Bobby Eden Media where we tell our stories our way and anything goes. KBOB 89.9 FM radio.
Join Tulsa's own Dale Mr. Groove Taylor as he takes you back to the 70s and 80s into the Groove Zone on KBOB 89.9 FM.
Okay. We are definitely back. And I think that the 22.5 years, I'm going to say my personal opinion, I do think it was a gut punch. I do. I do think it was hilarious. Has he been given more time than any other cop has been given for the crimes committed? Yes, but that's not really saying that much considering they haven't been given time so any amount of time really that they gave him would have been more than any cop probably has served because they don't never have to serve time. They never have to serve. I can honestly say that um, the little girl that got shot and killed by the police officer, right? The day of the reading. That is the only video that I have seen that I can say that I would have justified the shooting only because he came upon a situation that he didn't know anything about and he just saw somebody brandishing a weapon and he had to make a split second decision. Is it unfortunate that that young lady passed away? Yeah, because I believe she was 16 or 17, so it was very unfortunate. But of all the videos I've seen, that's the only one. Even though it broke my heart, I understood it. I will never be able to understand the George Floyd video. I cannot hardly even stand to watch that video. And I didn't even know this man. This man has become everybody's uncle. They keep saying that he's not a hero, but he didn't go to that store to be a hero. He went to that store to make it back home. And because of what happened, that made him a hero. Can you explain to me? Well, let me ask you a question first. Do you think he's a hero?
Who that?
George.
George Floyd?
Yeah.
It what he just his situation made people take notice of what's really happening. Of what's really happening.
Even more so. We took
More so,
notice, but
yeah.
even more so. They put a statue up of George Floyd. 24 hours later, it was vandalized. Somebody went and took black spray paint and sprayed it all across the face. This happened in
And
New York, and it happened in a very prominent part of town where there's always guards and security, and there's lots of cameras. It just
the,
happened to not be any
the
that
kind of
night.
the kind of resistance that they say he was putting up wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. When him saying that he was claustrophobic and all that, it didn't constitute him to lose his life. You know what I'm saying? It did not constitute that man to be 6 feet deep right now.
So his actions did not make him a hero. It's what happened to him in the circumstance and what it stood for has made him an American hero.
Yes, simply because I mean, when I say that, not to reduce what's going to happen to him or anything,
Right.
but this has happened to several other black men, like the man that was selling the cigarettes in New York. What's his name? Eric Gardner or whatever.
Garner.
Okay, I mean, come on, man. The man was like, I can't breathe. Same, I can't breathe.
And
Mishandled.
He told me he had asthma.
And he had asthma. Mishandled by people that's supposed to protect and serve. He was mishandled by the police.
He was. Philandro Castro, the ones who the police officer asked him to show his ID, and when he went to get it, shot him in the chest. His baby was sitting in the back seat. How traumatizing is that? That officer was never brought up on charges.
Excuse me. Happy anniversary, Tamara.
Happy anniversary.
Tamara Whiteside, happy anniversary. Back to what we were saying. We are not animals. We're not dogs treat us with the same dignity and respect that you want us to treat you with. Hey, those men were in a position to where they couldn't fight. If it's 4 or 5 officers, he couldn't fight them off of him, so he can gain his or get some oxygen so he could live. If you got people with their knees in your back, the Gardner situation, the Eric Gardner situation,
Well, he was
and
standing
choking him,
up
and then you
first.
choking
Yeah,
him
he
and stuff,
choking him,
you choking him
but
out.
he wasn't trying
Come
to
on,
fight.
man.
But he wasn't
He
trying to
wasn't
fight.
trying to fight, but I'm saying
He was trying to
he
fight.
was like basically pleading for his life as well.
And Philandro, definitely, he was actually, I mean, go back and look at it. He
Yeah.
was actually following protocol. They always say if you comply, things will be okay.
Was that the one that got shot in the car with the
That was the
kids
one
in
that
his
got
car?
caught shot. Well,
With the kids when he reached in there to get his wallet out of the gun part, and then
right.
seen the gun was in there, and he
No.
told him, "Hey man,
Well, he told them that first. He said,
got a
"I am
gun.
I'm a licensed registered gun holder." They
How
said,
much
"Can you
more?"
show me your ID?" And when he went to reach for it,
You shot him.
he shot him. So when they say comply, 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 he was complying. He was complying, and he's still dead. And not only that, he was dead in front of his child. So we damned if we do, we damned if we don't. So
It's kind of ridiculous.
It's
to
kind of
me.
It's almost like we're in a bubble. I'm not gonna say we're being pushed, but we're being forced to live a certain type of way, to act a certain type of way, to walk a certain type of way, to talk a certain type of way, as almost like they're trying to get us back in line, which is probably never, ever, 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 ever going to happen. So instead of trying to go against the grain, why don't we all just try to get along? Why don't we all just try to get along?
The main thing about it is like our self-worth always gotta be reduced by people that think we less than them.
And why do you think that
because of privilege, because of the power, the infrastructure of the way everything is made up, the power structure. Hey, they feel like we're not worth anything.
Well, I'm gonna give you one better.
Like
they're inferior to our
greatness,
our greatness, our beautiful melon,
our greatness. You hear me?
Our greatness.
You know what I'm saying? Because like I said,
because everything they hate about us is everything that they try to imitate.
Right.
And imitation is the greatest form of flattery. Yes, it
is. When rap wasn't worth a thing, they all trying to invest their money in rap and get paid off rap.
Exactly.
Or what's Damian Dash? I mean, he said a bunch of crazy stuff, but he be getting at them like he's supposed to. Cultural vultures. What do you call them?
Culture vultures. And guess what, guys? We are at the top of the hour. My, how time flies, especially when you have something interesting that you want to talk about, especially when you are so passionate about what you're talking about. We will be right back here Wednesday with another topic and some more things to talk about what's going on in the world. But until then, be safe and do not forget to spend some time with somebody special, even if that somebody special is you. Tamara Whiteside, happy anniversary, love. Let me know where the anniversary dinner is going to be because I will be there. KBOB 89.9 FM radio. See you guys Wednesday.
I remember